Hi there. Welcome to the first ever episode of Good Vibes with Garrett. That's a working title. We haven't really come up with anything yet, but that might be what we stick with. I don't know. We'll see. I'll run it by JJ. He's the real boss of the Super Gamer Boys. But I just want to welcome you all in here. Thank you all for stopping by. Today we're going to be doing something a little new. So this is new for me, this new kind of show format. The idea is we're just going to do short little videos, maybe 10 minutes max, where I sit down, and the idea is I'm going to sit here and do some hobby stuff, whether it's putting minis together, painting things, working on a base, who knows? You never know. No idea what I'm going to be doing. And I'm not necessarily here to teach you how to do things. You're going to be watching me do things. But to be honest, I'm not very good. I'm just okay. But you're going to be watching me do things while I just kind of chat and tell a story. So my thought is today I have some new minis that I just got. I got these for free, actually. So there's not free. There's a Warhammer subscription service where you get access to a bunch of different things for Warhammer. They have a streaming service with shows and movies and stuff, which is actually, they have some cool stuff on there. But anyways, you get a free miniature each year. So I'm like, all right, cool. And they're usually like limited edition things. So this is the one I got this year. It is called, Warhammer Commemorative Series, Slaves to Darkness. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Mibel Lord Darkfang, Chaos Sorcerer Lord. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty nerdy. Normally it's not that nerdy. Normally it's like, hey, this is a space marine. this is a fighter dude. He fights things. Warhammer can get very nerdy. I take that back. Warhammer can get very nerdy. I don't indulge in the nerdy stuff that often. But yeah, so I have the little booklet here telling me how to put it together, which is pretty straightforward. It's put the thing on the thing and the other thing on the base and the base and the, So while that's happening, I'm gonna go ahead and just chat. So strap in. Here we go. I'm gonna start cutting these things out of this brew with my snips, and hopefully this will be fun. Who knows? No idea what this is going to be like. But yeah, ultimately the idea behind this, it came from JJ, actually. He was like, hey, you know what? Back I don't even know how long ago it was. It was probably about a year ago. I did a stream where I was putting together the tricycle for what's it called? Death Stranding tricycle on stream. I put together the entire model kit actually in a weekend on stream. I did two long streams, and JJ doing his normal JJ thing. He jumped into chat and was like, "Hey nerd, what's going on?" Made fun of me for a bit, but then he was telling me just this last week. He's like, "Hey dude, like." So yeah, I made fun of you, and you are a nerd, but after I left the chat, he's like, I kept the stream running in the background, and I was just kind of shocked at how fun and relaxing and chill the stream was. He's like, it was just nice. Let's just sit there and listen to you chat about things and just talk, and whether there's someone in the chat or not, like you were just like, seemed so relaxed, and it was contagious. I was like, oh, okay, well, cool. He also called me, now, he's going to deny this. He also called me sexy. He says, hey, you're a good looking dude. You're sexy. You're hot. I'm like, oh, well, JJ, I'm married, but, I don't swing that way either, but I appreciate it. But so yeah, here we are. Now I'm just snipping things and putting them together, but I thought I'd tell kind of a quick story of how I even got introduced to Warhammer, why in the world I care about it at all, because to be honest. I didn't really know a lot about it, hadn't really heard about it. Until, like, is this really the most random of places? So, we were living in Canada at the time, and we were up there. It was 2007, and my parents were up there. Well, our whole family was up there. we were living in Canada. Yeah, and we had these friends there. His name was Andrew, and he was big into Warhammer. Now, at that time, Warhammer 40,000, or 40K is what a lot of people call it, existed, but the more popular one seemed to be Warhammer Fantasy, which was, you know, orcs, goblins, elves, that type of thing. Very much like, yeah, think Lord of the Rings. Something like that. But don't think exactly Lord of the Rings, because to be honest, Games Workshop actually makes a Lord of the Rings version of this. They actually have the license to do all the Lord of the Rings. Which, so if you're in Lord of the Rings, check it out. It's actually pretty sick. Anyways, yeah, and we'd seen some of his miniatures, and we're like, holy cow, like, this looks so cool. Like, what? You gotta show us this game. So he invited us over, and got a big group of guys together where I don't even remember how many. There's maybe like 8 or 9 of us, and we were playing. It was 2 teams, but what we did is, yeah, split the units up, and that way it was, you know, each guy around the table was controlling a unit. So we were all working together, all playing together, and man, it was such a blast. Like, to show up there and see this huge table just filled with this awesome terrain, these incredibly painted armies all lined up, like just tons of dudes on the table. Like, that's the coolest thing to see, is like just the massive amount of people, you know, when you are just sitting at this table and you're like, holy smokes. Like, and the fact that he assembled all those guys and painted all those guys, like, that is absolutely absurd. So yeah, that was my first introduction to Warhammer. Of course, like I said, like, he was into Warhammer Fantasy, and I was like, no, like, there's cool space stuff. I like, give me some aliens and giant, like, stormtrooper looking dudes. So that's what I got into. And it was pretty different. To be honest, there's times where I kind of wish I got into the fantasy aspect of it, but because there's just like some, yeah, I don't know, there's just some like really neat army choices and units and stuff in fantasy, which is not called fantasy anymore. So if you're trying to get into Warhammer now, it's called Age of Sigmar. Well, Warhammer Age of Sigmar. That's like the fantasy version now. And 40K is still around, obviously, because here I am putting together miniatures of them. But yeah, it's a fun hobby. I just love it because it's so relaxing. You know, I can just sit and tinker, and I don't know. Like, it's just video games at times kind of wear me out, to be honest, which, like, I'm at a point now where I'm actually kind of burnt out on video games. Like, none of them really seem interesting. Like, there's fun games, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been really enjoying Hi-Fi Rush, and the Dead Space remake just came out, and yeah, there's so many awesome games to play, but I don't know. There's just something about it where I get every so many months it happens. Like, it'll happen like for a few months out of the year, sometimes a couple times a year, where I'm just done. And it's nice to have a hobby where I can just jump back in and just, yeah, just be creative and have fun, and not have to worry about like any sort of like objective you know. I mean, obviously my objective is like, hey, finish painting these things and hey, play the game once in a while. But you know what? It's so much fun just to like do things at my own pace and not have to worry about that. So yeah, that's, if that makes any sense, that's why I really enjoy Warhammer, because I love the community of it. Obviously, like I was introduced to it through like a cool community, and then even now, like it's been really neat to connect with my brother through it, which, you know, Jake might be watching this, so Jake, thanks for kind of always pulling me back into it, because yeah, sometimes I kind of like start fading away from it and then it brings me right back. But yeah, it's just been such a cool thing to be able to have a hobby that, you know, you don't have to sit in front of a screen. It's not so stressful. It is very relaxing and stress-free, and I think everyone kind of needs a hobby like that. Like, I think a lot of people think video games are like that, but if you really think about it, video games aren't really that, and like most of the time, because I mean, you think about it, like playing Call of Duty and stuff, you're like, oh, it's so relaxing, let's get in there with the boys and hang out. It's like, yeah, to an extent, but I don't know, I feel like 9 times out of 10 people just like start raging, you know, because it's Call of Duty. So yeah, I highly recommend trying it out, or something. You don't have to get into Warhammer, but even just miniature painting or model building, like something where it's just like, yeah, slower paced like this, and you can just kind of sit back, relax, do your thing, and really just, I don't even know, yeah, let time go by and not worry about anything. You know, listen to a podcast, listen to music, don't listen to anything, just sit in silence. It's really nice. All right, well, that'll probably do it for this week. I know I didn't really get much done and didn't really talk to you much, but I guess I will tell you kind of the process, what I was just doing. After I cut these out of the sprue here, there's like little nubbins on there. I don't know what they're actually called. I call them little nubbins. And you can actually see one right there. See at the end of that spike. It's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look like a spike. It doesn't look like that right now because I gotta scrape the thing off. But yeah, I was just cleaning it up before I go ahead and put it together, because that's the last thing I want to do is glue this thing together and then it has a bunch of crud on it that when you go to paint it, it's going to look goofy, right? So that's what I was working on. Thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate you all who support the channel. If you don't know, we have a podcast called Super Gamer Boys. It comes out each and every week where we talk about video games. You can head over there and yeah, catch us being a little more rambunctious, a little more over the top, joking, goofing around, and yeah, talking about the video games we play. And yeah, hopefully we'll be putting up more stuff on our YouTube channel here this year. That's our goal for 2023, is to really amp things up over here. So hopefully this is something that you guys enjoy, just a little more chill, laid back, vlog style type thing, you know. And yeah, if not, then we'll stop doing it. But again, this is fun to do, and it's something fun to share. And I really hope you guys all have a good rest of your day or evening whenever you're checking this out. So, all right, well, that's all for now. I'll catch you in the next one.